Welcome to CosmoCake, a cozy corner for all zodiac signs. Here, we share heartfelt stories where you can see yourself reflected, feel warmth, and connect with people of all signs. Today, we have a special story for our Leo friends, a tale that dives deep into courage, heart, and self-discovery. In today's story, we follow Neil, a young Leo boy with a lion heart, as he organizes a village festival that teaches him the meaning of true leadership, compassion, and courage. Neil the Lionheart. Neil had always felt a fire inside him, a warmth that coursed through his chest whenever he dreamed of doing something meaningful. It wasn't just a fleeting excitement, it was a steady hum, a heartbeat that reminded him that he was meant to lead, to protect, to inspire. Living in a small, close-knit village nestled between emerald hills and flowing rivers, Neil often wandered through the lanes imagining grand gatherings, people laughing, music drifting through the air, and everyone feeling united. The village, though serene and picturesque, had grown a bit quiet in recent years. Festivals, once the lifeblood of the community, had become scattered, and people often kept to their own corners. Neil, with his fiery spirit, couldn't stand seeing the life in the village fade. He believed in joy, in celebration, in shared moments that could light up hearts. One morning, while helping his mother gather fresh fruits from the orchard, Neil's mind drifted to an idea: the village festival. Not just any festival, but something that would bring together every family, every elder, every child, in a way that celebrated their collective spirit. It would be a festival of warmth, laughter, music, and unity. But organizing it? That was no small task. Neil knew it would require more than ideas. It would require courage, patience, and leadership. The first step was gaining support. Neil approached the village elders, beginning with Mr. Dev, the oldest and wisest man in the community. Mr. Dev had seen countless festivals come and go and was skeptical of new ideas, especially from a boy barely in his late teens. "Neil," he said gently, "we've tried festivals before. People enjoy them for a day, but soon life carries them back to their own worries." Neil didn't falter. His eyes, bright with determination, met the elders. "I understand, sir. But I believe this time can be different. I want to create something that isn't just a day of fun, but a memory that stays in people's hearts, something that reminds everyone that we belong to a family bigger than ourselves." Mr. Dev studied him for a long moment. He had always noticed Neil's courage, the way he carried himself with a quiet confidence that demanded attention without arrogance. Finally, he nodded. "Very well. I'll support you, Neil. But remember, a leader must listen, not just speak. People will follow only if they feel heard." Neil smiled. That was his first lesson in leadership, one he would carry throughout the festival planning. Over the next few weeks, Neil's days were filled with discussions, sketches, and plans. He mapped out stalls, music corners, performances, and spaces for children's games. He visited every household, inviting families to participate, encouraging them to contribute in ways they could. Some were hesitant at first, unsure whether a boy could manage such an undertaking. But Neil's unwavering passion, his lion-hearted determination, gradually won them over. It wasn't easy. Some neighbors disagreed about how things should be arranged. Some thought the festival too ambitious. On a particularly challenging afternoon, when a group of villagers argued about the placement of the food stalls, Neil felt his temper rise. He could feel the heat in his chest, that Leo fire that sometimes pushed him to act impulsively. Then he remembered Mr. Dev's words: "A leader must listen, not just speak." Taking a deep breath, Neil stepped forward. "I hear your concerns," he said calmly, "and I want everyone to feel this festival is theirs. Let's take a moment to list what matters most for each family. Then we can adjust the plan so it works for everyone." The villagers paused, surprised by the boy's composure. One by one, they shared their ideas and preferences. By the end of the discussion, they had a plan that balanced tradition and innovation, fun and respect, joy and practicality. Neil realized then that leadership wasn't about commanding. It was about uniting hearts toward a shared vision. As the festival day approached, Neil found himself juggling endless tasks, coordinating performers, arranging decorations, checking on food supplies, and ensuring everyone felt included. Yet, even in the chaos, he felt alive, purposeful. His energy became infectious. Villagers, young and old, began volunteering eagerly, their skepticism replaced by excitement. On the eve of the festival, Neil stood on the small hill overlooking the village. Lanterns were strung between trees, banners swayed gently in the evening breeze, and the scent of fresh flowers filled the air. He felt a surge of pride, not just for his own efforts, but for the way the community had come together. Each person had poured a part of themselves into the celebration, and Neil had helped guide that energy, helping it coalesce into something magical. The festival began with the rising sun, casting golden light across the village. Children ran through the fields, laughter echoing like music. Stalls displayed colorful crafts, local foods, and handmade decorations. Musicians played instruments that told stories of old, while dancers performed in flowing costumes that sparkled like sunlight on water. Neil moved through the crowd, greeting villagers, helping where needed, and quietly observing. He noticed Mrs. Lotta, who rarely spoke, smiling warmly as her grandchildren painted lanterns. He saw Mr. Dev sitting with young teenagers, sharing tales of the village's history, their eyes wide with fascination. Everywhere Neil looked, he saw connection, joy, and pride, the very essence of what he had dreamed of creating. Amid the celebration, Neil faced one final challenge. A sudden gust of wind toppled the stage where a young troupe of dancers was performing. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Instinctively, Neil ran forward, steadying the structure with his own hands, rallying volunteers to secure it quickly. Within moments, the performance resumed, and applause erupted louder than before. In that instant, Neil felt a deep understanding of what it truly meant to lead. Leadership wasn't about recognition. It was about courage, presence, and the willingness to step in when others needed guidance. It was about putting the collective heart above personal comfort. His Leo fire, which sometimes felt overwhelming, had become a beacon, a force that drew people together rather than divided them. As evening fell and lanterns lit the village in a soft, golden glow, Neil sat quietly on the hill once more. Around him, villagers sang, danced, and laughed. He felt a gentle pride, not born of ego, but of connection and accomplishment. He realized that the fire inside him, the essence of his Leo heart, was strongest when it served others, when it illuminated joy, warmth, and unity. Later, as the festival drew to a close, Neil walked through the now quiet lanes, the scent of flowers still lingering. He saw small groups of villagers lingering, talking softly, exchanging smiles. Mrs. Lotta approached him, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You did something wonderful, Neil," she said softly. "You reminded us what it feels like to belong, to be part of something bigger than ourselves." Neil's chest swelled with quiet happiness. "I only helped guide it," he replied. "The real magic is in all of you, in everyone who believed and contributed." That night, Neil lay awake, reflecting on the festival. He thought about the challenges, the doubts, the arguments, and the moments of triumph. He realized that his journey as a leader was only beginning. True leadership, he understood now, wasn't about control or authority. It was about heart, empathy, and courage, the ability to ignite a spark in others, helping them see the light they carried within themselves. And Neil, the lion-hearted boy, understood something even deeper. The fire of a Leo wasn't just meant to shine. It was meant to illuminate the hearts of everyone around him. By morning, the village was abuzz with stories of the festival, each retelling carrying laughter, warmth, and pride. Neil walked through the lanes, now familiar and yet transformed by the celebration. Children ran past him, calling his name, and elders smiled knowingly. He felt a quiet satisfaction, a deep sense of purpose, and a readiness for whatever challenges lay ahead. Neil had discovered that being a leader wasn't about being the loudest or the strongest. It was about being brave enough to care, persistent enough to act, and humble enough to recognize that the light of a Leo shines brightest when it uplifts everyone around it. As the sun rose higher over the village, Neil smiled to himself, knowing that this was just the beginning. The first of many moments where his heart, his courage, and his fire would touch lives, create bonds, and inspire those around him. And in that understanding, he felt complete, for the first time truly grasping the beauty of being a Leo, a lion-hearted soul who leads with love. Thank you for joining us today and experiencing Neil's journey. Leo friends, how did this story resonate with you? How much could you relate to Neil and his lion-hearted courage? We'd love for you to comment below, sharing the parts that touched your heart the most or the moments that made you feel seen. And for those watching from other signs, did you also feel a connection with Neil's journey? Remember, the next story will be about next zodiac sign, and we can't wait to share it with you. Make sure to subscribe to CosmoCake so you don't miss the upcoming stories. So many heartfelt tales are coming your way. Stories where you can see yourself, feel warmth, and connect with every zodiac sign. Until next time, keep your heart open and your fire bright.